Admiration, affection, aggravation, compassion, happiness, depression, hope, fear, grief. All of these are emotions that all people have probably experienced at one point in their everyday lives. What most humans don't realize is that their dogs feel these emotions too. Canines experience the majority of the emotions that humans wouldn't think they had the capacity to produce. Many humans know that their dogs are faithful to them, but they don't understand why. So the question remains, what is your dog's perspective on the world? Have you ever looked at your dog and thought, what are you thinking? Well, there's no definite way to tell. Maybe in a futuristic scenario, there will be machines that allow us to completely understand man's best friend. For now, we'll just have to rely on intuition.
I think dogs are called man's best friend because they're very loyal. You can be mad and upset and happy, and dogs never form an opinion, and they're always pretty silent about everything.
The way dogs communicate seems very simple to the human eye. A dog will snarl and the hair on the back of its neck will rise to convey aggression. They will often become very affectionate when they are in need of food or water. If the dog is more docile than usual, it might be injured or sick. These simple acts are more complex than humans are led to believe.
In a study conducted by the University of Budapest, it was revealed that a dog's brain reacts to voices the same way a human does. In the study, 11 dogs and their owners were placed in an MRI scanner and listened to over 200 different sounds, from car sounds and whistles to human sounds and dog noises. The researchers found that the temporal pole, the most anterior part of the temporal lobe, was stimulated in both the dog's and the human's brains. The brain has three main sections: the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. The cerebrum, or the cerebral cortex, forms the majority of the brain. This part of the brain is responsible for analyzing sensory information such as vision, touch, taste, hearing, and pain. The size of the cerebral cortex affects how much the subject can carry out complex responses and behavior patterns. A dog's brain is quite large, meaning the dog is capable of performing such acts. The frontal and temporal lobes contribute to alertness, intelligence, memory, and the temperament of a dog. Within the frontal and temporal lobes is the thalamus, which allows the dog to focus for long periods of time. Theory suggests that this part of a dog's brain strongly developed when pack dogs had to track a herd of elk or buffalo for days on end. The limbic system is located within the cerebral cortex, which produces emotions such as fear, joy, anxiety, and aggression. The rabies virus will attack this region first, which is why dogs with rabies will often execute strange behavior. Within the limbic system is the amygdala. This part of the brain is responsible for survival tactics and defensive reactions. In a situation where a dog has to react quickly, the information is sent directly from the thalamus to the amygdala without being decoded by the cerebral cortex, which is a longer process.
The amygdala is that part of the brain that holds the fight or flight response. And fight is, of course, anger, protection, and flight is fear or anxiety, and that makes somebody want to run or fly away.
The second part of the dog's brain is the cerebellum, meaning little brain. The cerebellum is located at the back of the brain and is attached to the brainstem and the cerebral cortex. This part of the dog's brain is responsible for motor control, such as balance and coordination. The little brain receives information from the dog's muscles and tendons regarding pain and voluntary movement. Damage or cerebellar lesion to the cerebellum can cause tremors or seizures in the dog's body. The cerebellum is responsible for movement and is not fully developed at birth, which is why newborn puppies are sluggish and slow for a couple of days after birth. Lastly, the brainstem is located at the base of the brain. All of the fibers that lead to the dog's muscles go through the brainstem. The fibers control a number of things, such as the number of times the dog's heart beats, and salivation, coughing, and sneezing. This part of the brain also transports information like taste sensations and how the dog is balancing. Damage to this area might cause urinary inconsistency.
When dogs feel an emotion, they don't realize that they are experiencing that particular emotion. They simply become the emotions: anger, happiness, depression, fear, whereas humans are capable of defining the emotions that they experience.
See, we think this is my body, right? But dogs don't think that this is my body. Dogs see that this is a body. And the dogs never see themselves as inside looking out, like we do. They don't completely go inside. They're still part of dogness.
As humans, we have the ability to understand what we are. We understand our bodies and the world around us. Dogs may not be aware that they're dogs. They don't contemplate dog existence or why they are in their bodies. They are content with their form and live each day unaware of what they are. Bred from wolves by ancient tribes of natives thousands of years ago, dogs are genetically built to survive in a pack. Male dogs are designed to take on a role of leadership, watching after the pack and hunting. Females are bred to take care of their young. They live day by day, finding food, companionship, and other things that they need to survive.
There's a lot of factors involved in how the dog will gravitate to, but because of the original genetics of it being a packed animal, hunting together, okay, creating an environment where that happens, and rearing the young. It's all about being able to rear the young, as important as all these other factors.
Relationship between dogs and their owners is very unique, depending on the dog's background. A dog who has been abused is more likely to be shy or aggressive. The majority of connections between canines and humans are loving ones.
I think the world needs more dogs. I wish we could have a dog. I think animals bring a feeling of acceptance and love, and helps people have a reason to get up in the morning, you know, if they don't have a job or if they're very lonely, and they take care of the dog. And sometimes that dog is the one thing that's keeping them alive. And having to go home from someplace and make sure the dog is well cared for, it gives them a sense of purpose. So for people who have some pretty serious mental health issues, having a pet, or actually for anybody, but having a pet can be a very stabilizing factor, and it keeps them in the routine of doing dailiness in their lives, as opposed to just taking to their bed and shutting out the rest of the world. They have to get up and take the dog for a walk. They have to feed the dog. They have to keep tending to the needs of the dog. And the dog constantly rewards that by its love, its loyalty, by its facial expressions.
They will follow humans wherever they go. Their expressions of unconditional love. They cannot hold grudges unless you're really mean to them, and then they just took on that human quality. That person must have had it when they did whatever they did. They are one of the last remaining links, as this world is changing very fast.
Dogs are our friends, our companions, and our family. We support, love, and nurture them, and in return, they give us their love and friendship. Without dogs, the world would be a less enjoyable place. For some people, their dogs are the reason that they get up in the morning. The way we see the world isn't too different from how a dog sees it, and it's important to realize that dogs have feelings too. When you look at your dog, remember that they have their own personality and that they see the world in a way quite similar to you.
You ain't nothing but a hound.